Oh my God, I don't want to do this. I feel awful. Last night I went to a spot at a comedy club and I did some time and oh my God, I've been intermittent fasting because I'm fat. And last night I reminded myself that 2 beers at approximately 8% alcohol per volume makes me want to throw up. But I'm pushing through. We're here. We're going to do this thing because we got a lot to talk about. Welcome to the Tuesday Morning After Pill. My name is Matt Talley, and it is a pleasure to have you. Despite the lack of pleasure or just even okay feelings inside my stomach, I am here. This is a lesson in discipline. Week in, week out, I am here to talk to you about Monday Night Raw and the events of Monday Night Raw. My name is Matt Talley. As I said, this is the second show. If you are tuning in again, thank you so much for doing so. That means the world to me, truly. It does. For those of you maybe tuning in for the first time, my name is Matt Talley. Again, how many times can I say it? I don't know. Please don't forget it. It's my name. I am a comedian here in Atlanta, Georgia. I am a lover of professional wrestling, and more than anything, I am a lover of storytelling. That is why I love wrestling. That is why I love comedy and writing. And so this show is the show that recaps all of Monday Night Raw, the events of it, and then we get to dive into potential storylines that we could explore within the WWE universe, specifically pertaining to Monday Night Raw. And Monday Night Raw last night was no exception to what we are doing here, because I have some things that I want to talk about. We open up last night's Monday Night Raw in Norfolk, Virginia, with Solo Sikoa coming out and Jey Uso coming out and cutting a promo where Jey has decided to take it on himself to continue Roman's goal of reuniting the Bloodline. So he calls Solo out in an attempt to get Solo back into the fold, back into the family. But this has not been sanctioned by Roman. This is Jey taking initiative on his own. And we see the results of that later in the show, and we will talk about those results later in this show. But that is how the beginning of the show starts out. Shortly after that, we get to see a match between Penta and the Laredo Kid. This match is part of the new playoff bracket, if you will, for the #1 contenders series in AAA. Rey Mysterio, at the end of last week's Raw, met up with Roman Reigns and said, hey, we got a lot of great stuff that's going on at AAA. Can I bend your ear a little bit? And it turns out that Rey Mysterio, general manager of AAA, has gotten Roman Reigns on board with a tournament. There's the word I was looking for. A tournament of all of the best luchadors in AAA. And the winner of that tournament gets to take on Roman Reigns for the heavyweight championship in Mexico City in just a few months. So we see the first match in this #1 contender series, this tournament between Penta and the Laredo Kid. Obviously, the Laredo Kid, much more famous in AAA than he is in WWE. So this was kind of a gimme. But I like this tournament for a lot of reasons. Penta obviously beating the Laredo Kid in the match. But what's very interesting about this potential series is, last weekend, if you will, about 2 weekends ago, we watched Chad Gable take the Intercontinental Championship from Penta. So much so that we later on in Raw see Chad Gable challenging Rey Mysterio and saying, hey, if there's anybody that I'd love to defend this title against, it's the greatest luchador of all time. So that is very interesting. But, the question was, why are they taking this belt, the Intercontinental Championship, off of Penta? And I think that we now have at least a potential answer, right? And I think that is because Penta is so absolutely over. Everyone loves Penta. I love Penta. Everybody has zero miedo, dude. And because of that, I am of the mindset that this has the potential for us to see Penta rocking the World Heavyweight Championship. I think that is the route that is at least one of the potential routes for WWE as it pertains to Monday Night Raw going forward, because there is another avenue with this that I think there is a potential for. So I'll visit that a little bit later in this show. But shortly after we see Penta take on the Laredo Kid and win in that number one contenders tournament for the World Heavyweight Championship, we see just a retribution match between Austin Theory and Tozawa. And just truth be told, I talked about this last week, and it seems like we're continuing down this path. It doesn't seem like we have much of a plan for the other guys of the Vision. Obviously, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed are going to be established within WWE for a long time. And because Logan Paul is hurt, there's only so much that he can do. So Austin Theory, to his credit, is very much carrying the weight of the Vision, but unfortunately, no one's buying it. I love the match. I thought it was a great match for the most part. You know, the Vision comes out, Austin's all hyped up. Fucking Maxine Dupree is cutting one of the worst promos that you've ever seen. And me eating crow for a second here, the one thing that we did see out of this was some genuinely good acting and promo from Logan Paul. We didn't see him screaming like a psychopath. We didn't see his eyes bulging out of his head. We saw Logan Paul being a facilitator of the storyline. And I think Logan was the best sell of the night last night. But as it pertains to Austin and Maxine, I feel like I'm watching the worst the worst fucking telenovela ever, dude. The worst soap opera ever. The acting is not good. The writing that they are using, I don't know if they're writing their own promos or they're having people write them for them, but regardless, it's just the most unbelievable aspect of Monday Night Raw right now. And I hate saying that, but it is the truth. Austin Theory's a dork. He is a dork. He cannot cut a promo to save his life. He is the wigger that everybody thinks is not as cool as he thinks he is. And I think that we're trying to buy him as a badass. We're trying to sell him as a badass, rather, and nobody's buying it. And to just give them the white trash treatment of Jim musclehead douche bro and slutty pretty girl. I don't like that for Maxine. Most of all, I don't think that she should have gone from being the women's champion to being just a crutch for Austin Theory. Now, I just don't know what we're doing with her. Like, are we really truly supposed to believe that like Natalya beat her up one time and that just made her turn heel? Like, there was not a contextual storyline for Maxine to get to this point of wanting to invest in a new team, a new person. All it is Maxine thinks Austin's hot. Austin thinks Maxine's hot. They're hot. Look at them in the ring together, being hot. Okay? It serves no purpose. And I understand that maybe right now they're just using them as filler. But ultimately, the buildup of Austin Theory coming back was meant to show us that this was a different guy. And thus far, we have seen the same guy that we have always seen. We have seen the guy that shoots himself in the foot with botches. We have seen the guy that shoots himself in the foot with poor promo. And I think it's simply because he has to work with what he has. But if we're going to do that, we need to write him and Maxine something worthwhile. And to just beat a dead horse of she was a member of a team that she was elevated out of for particular reasons. She showed promise when it came to in-ring performance. She showed promise when it came to promo, so much so that we got to the point of putting her up with the belt. We put her over, and there should have been more to run with that. But Natalya comes in, takes her out, and then a few weeks later, she's bad bitch. And so here is what I am posing for Austin Theory and Maxine Dupree. I believe the Alpha Academy storyline is played out. There's not much more that we can do with this at this point. I understand that we're wanting to utilize the Alpha Academy, Tozawa and Otis, for obvious reasons, just to include them, but ultimately you are sacrificing the storylines of much higher ranked talent within the WWE. And thus far, I think that what we can do here is we can give Austin Theory and Maxine Dupree a storyline worth having. Maxine had a fall from grace with her belt. Austin is currently one of the tag team champions. He wants to see gold around his girl's waist because that's what she deserves. And as a result, he gets her back into the ring. He starts encouraging her to take on people. And I think that a storyline that we can run with is the first person that you need to start with is the one who took everything away from you. You need to go after Natalya. And I like that. It is Austin taking a back seat, which I think we kind of need to see right now. And it elevates Maxine back to the place that she was at, where she has a significant storyline, where she's the one that it has something worth fighting for. Because right now, Austin Theory has nothing worth fighting for. So if anybody is going to be the hype man in this relationship, it should be Austin Theory to Maxine Dupree. And then once Maxine goes through her storyline with Natalya, then we can put Maxine in a position to be a contender of some level for either the Women's Heavyweight Championship or the WWE Championship, or hell, even the Intercontinental title. I know that we have other storylines as it pertains to that, but right now, like we could use something that puts Maxine in a place where she is one of the top talent that they can utilize if need be. What I think is happening within WWE is that they are sacrificing storylines for mid-card talent that are right in the middle of the show or at the beginning of the show, that people are maybe going to get their slice of pizza or using the bathroom during. Like, let's just be honest with it. But they are putting these storylines in that provides no future growth for these talents. And I think that doing something where Austin takes a backseat to Maxine, she has a purpose and a mission, then gives them weight, and it allows for their individual storyline to grow. Because we are seeing individual storylines grow out of the vision already. During Austin Theory's match against Tozawa, Braun Breaker cannot be bothered. He is completely checked out. He wants nothing to do with the match. He's not concerned with it. He's just kind of standing there thinking about his interaction with Femi last week. And then after the match is over, Braun decides to snap. He gets in the ring, and before he can do anything, Oba's music plays. Femi comes out, and before these two can come to blows, all of the general managers, all of the staff rush the ring and prevent them from doing so. I love this very much, because we are going to be able to watch these dudes, these fucking monster humans, these fucking titans, these demigods. We're going to watch these dudes punch each other in the face and slam each other on the ground and hit each other with chairs and tables and beat the hell out of each other in cells for the next 10 years, dude. And that's fucking awesome. And I like the storyline that we're going with this. I co-sign this completely. Braun was the future of WWE. But now Oba is the future of WWE. Braun is just completely bent out of shape with this. He can't handle the fact that this title that was bestowed upon him has now been bestowed upon Femi. So much so that he's continually asking people, he's asking interviewers, he's asking Paul Heyman, hey, do you really think it's him now and not me? And I love this because I think what you can do here, and I'm going to skip a little bit to this segment in the Heyman promo because I know it looked like Heyman was weaseling his way out of the conversation with Braun regarding Oba. But I think what you can do here, because now that Brock Lesnar is retired, you have a potential for Paul Heyman to continually pit Femi and Braun Breaker against each other for the foreseeable future for their for his love, for his respect, for his advice and his counsel. These two titans. Sorry, John. These two titans will be competing for almost the guidance and love of a father figure that they now look at in Paul Heyman. But ultimately, I think what this provides for Braun is the lift, right? Braun has been in more than Oba. And Oba may be a little more over right now, and that's understandable. Braun was out for a while. You just deflate the tires. It happens. So Braun has to build things back up. And I think this is the perfect way to build it back up, because ultimately I think we can see Paul Heyman looking at Braun Breaker and going, Braun, you are not the future of WWE anymore. You're the now. It's you. Go get it. And you see Braun Breaker become one of the top selling talents in WWE. I think that is the path that we are going down, and I like it a lot. After the match between Austin Theory and Tozawa and the face-off between Oba Femi and Braun Breaker, we see a little bit of a promo between Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee, and then Dom Mysterio. Rey and Dragon are talking about the number one contenders tournament for the heavyweight title that is going to take place in Mexico. They're just talking about how much they're excited for it. Dragon is thanking Rey for this opportunity. And then Dom comes in and is furious because he is the reigning mega campeon of AAA. He is the king of the luchadores. He is wrestling royalty. He is the greatest Mysterio of all time. How dare you not put him in this tournament, Dad? And this is very interesting because ultimately the result of this is that we see Dom and Rey Mysterio fight later that night. But this is interesting, and this is the reason that I don't necessarily say that they're gonna put the belt on Penta because of the number one contender series match. Would we love to put the belt on Penta? Yes. Is Penta crazy over? Yes. But what we are seeing in reports out of WWE through leak sources, multiple avenues have reported on this, that Dom has grown discontented in his role at WWE, that he feels that every time he goes down to AAA in Mexico, that he is received with love, that they provide storylines that are deep and contextual and help him build his character, and that he feels that right now in the WWE, the Judgment Day storylines that he's continually a part of have become more and more cartoonish. And I don't disagree with him. We have watched him go back and forth with Danhausen for the last few months. And as much as I love Danhausen, I never want to be cursed. I love Danhausen. But someone of Dominik Mysterio's pedigree and lineage and talent should not be pigeonholed and confined to the most cartoony storylines humanly possible. And it seems that he feels that every time he goes down to AAA, he's treated as a wrestler, not a cartoon character, not a gimmick. And he likes that. So then we see him petitioning Rey Mysterio, his father, for the opportunity to take place in this tournament. Now, Dragon Lee defeats him in the match, but I think this sets up the potential storyline to do one of two things for Dom. This is what we were talking about last week. We got to get them out of this cartoony phase. And what this does is it provides Dom one of two opportunities. Either, yes, he will somehow partake in this tournament. Maybe he'll just play spoiler in this tournament towards the end. And as a result, in playing spoiler, maybe he gets an opportunity to invest more time down in Mexico in AAA. If that's what he wants, that's what he wants. And there is the other route that we could go down in potentially seeing him with the World Heavyweight Championship. Somehow he makes his way in to this tournament. Maybe he earns the respect of his father with last night's match. And Rey says, you know what? Someone got hurt, and as a result, you are now in the tournament. And Dom gets elevated to a place where he eventually defeats Roman Reigns, and Dom is holding the World Heavyweight Championship. And we get to see Dom become a fighting champion, develop deeper, more contextual storylines, and really prove himself as a wrestler and not just a gimmick that's a lot of fun for the WWE. Dom's always going to have that boyish charm. He's always going to be kind of a kid. It's kind of in his delivery and his voice and his promo. So you're always going to have that to lean on, but that doesn't mean that you can't help him grow up a little bit. You know, I just went and saw Spider-Man Brand New Day, and who knows how many Spider-Mans we'll have left. But in this one, you very much see an adult Tom Holland. And I think in all the previous ones, you see a teenage, a college-age, adolescent Peter Parker. And this, you're starting to see him become an adult and deal with adult things. And I think fans would very much like to see Dom become an adult and do adult things. And whether it is you sending him down to AAA and allowing him the opportunity to develop rich contextual storylines, or you just slap the World Heavyweight Championship on him, you then put him in a place for him to be taken much more seriously going forward. After the match between Dominik Mysterio and Dragon Lee, we see a promo between Stephanie Vaquer and the man, Becky Lynch. Stephanie and Becky are not pleased with each other right now because they both want the same thing. They both want to beat the hell out of Liv Morgan and get the belt that they both believe that they deserve. I'm torn on this, truthfully. Stephanie's been out for quite some time, and as a result, I think that just putting it back on her is probably not the best option. I think we're going to want to see her rebuild. She is moderately over. There were parts during both Stephanie's dialogue and Becky's dialogue where it did not seem like the crowd was on either of their sides. So I think we're seeing a fan base that is torn between who would they rather have beat the hell out of Liv and take the belt. And I am erring on the side of Becky. I think Stephanie has been gone for a minute. Becky's been gone for a minute. But the man is the man. And I think Becky is arguably the best promo cutter in all of the female locker room. And Liv Morgan has proven that she is capable of acting. She has proven that she is capable of cutting promo, of getting under people's skin. She has become a formidable heel. And in becoming a formidable heel, you have to find ways to manipulate. You have to find ways to make people annoyed with you and hate you. And Liv has done that. But if there is one person in WWE that knows how to do it better, is the man, dude. Becky knows how to get under your skin. Becky knows how to play games with you. Becky knows how to piss off the crowd, but somehow make them laugh. I think Becky is the choice. But after they cut the promo, we see Liv Morgan take the ring and give a cheap shot to Becky, which is interesting because Becky at no point went after Liv last week. Becky was not the one that came out and started fighting. That was Stephanie Vaquer. So now it seems that Liv has indicated that Becky is the one that I'm most threatened by. Because we've already seen Stephanie go through her bouts with the Judgment Day. I think if we do that again, it's just another story. It's the same old song and dance, change the record. But we have not seen someone like Becky Lynch go up against the Judgment Day. And as a result, I think what you can find is that maybe Stephanie and Becky end up working together. Stephanie and Becky end up working together. Becky takes the women's title. Stephanie takes the Intercontinental title. And then, as I said on last week's episode, we can begin to see the dissolution of the Judgment Day. It can be kind of put to bed for a while. Now, no WWE property ever dies forever. I mean, we're still talking about The Shield all these years later. We still talk about NWO and DX all these years later. There are people that are constantly posing that NWO should come back, that DX should come back. And I think that we're always going to see things like, oh, The Shield should come back. And then one day, when the Judgment Day is done, we'll continually hear that the Judgment Day should come back. But in Becky and Stephanie taking on the Judgment Day together, two completely formidable opponents against the Judgment Day. They are established wrestlers. They have both held championships. It is the thing that can be the solution to the Judgment Day problem that we seem to be having. And with Dom either moving into AAA or possibly moving into the World Heavyweight Championship, really all you're left with at that point is Raquel, Roxanne, and JD. And as I said on last week's episode, those three have already put themselves in positions to become independent singles champions. Plain and simple. I'm gonna skip around a little bit here because I do want to stay on the topic of the Judgment Day, because later on in the episode we see the Judgment Day, specifically Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, come out and take on Sol Ruca and a mystery opponent, and that mystery opponent ends up being Io Sky. Io Sky, no stranger to fucking around with the Judgment Day. So this was a great match to watch, and I think that this match highlights exactly what I'm saying, because obviously Io and Sol Ruca are two of the most popular and independent wrestlers, and most over independent wrestlers that we have in WWE, specifically on Monday Night Raw right now. But what we saw last night was airbenders versus earthbenders. We saw two of the best flyers in the women's locker room, or probably the two best flyers in the women's locker room, take on two of the best technicians in the women's locker room. Both Roxanne and Raquel have a more ground and pound, beat them down type of style, whereas Io and Sol Ruca have a fly through the air, bounce off this, flip over that style. And I thought it was one of the best matches that I've seen in a while. It was just like watching two elements fight each other. And in seeing that fight between those four, I think we see that Roxanne and Raquel are ready to just be on their own. And if they don't need to be on their own, they are obviously so formidable together. So either we keep them as the Judgment Day, or we give them an independent tag team name and title, not title in terms of the belt, but just give them a new brand, because they are formidable together, and we can have them being women that can fuck up the women's tag team division for a very, very long time. I don't think that JC Jane and Fatal Influence have anything on those two together. I don't think that the Bella Twins have anything on those two together. I think that if you have those two as a women's tag team going forward, we see something very formidable and something truly enjoyable to watch for quite some time. After their match, we do see Sol Ruca and Io Sky walking through the women's locker room, and they are confronted by Lyra Valkyria. And I want to talk about this because I don't know what's going on. I don't like this. I don't think it's okay. I think what they are doing to Lyra, it must be teaching a lesson of some sort, right? Did Lyra get too big for her britches? Was she pushing in ways that she should? I don't know. I don't know what goes on in the locker room, but it does seem like this at this point, it feels almost like a humiliation ritual, that they're just going out of their way to make Lyra look bad for no reason. I don't mind the Lyra storyline. I don't mind the Lyra frustration of Bayley always holding her back, because if we want to be honest, she did. Bayley was not as over anymore. Bayley was not top talent anymore. Sometimes when you'd watch Bayley's matches, there would be botches. Sometimes when you'd watch her promo, she'd cut weird promo. She started leaning into the, I'm crazy, I'm losing all the time, so that makes me crazy. Like, why is it that when women face something hard, we just call them crazy? Now, as a comic, I agree with that, but as a human, I don't see it. So it seems like we've just transposed Bayley's I'm crazy and I'm losing my mind storyline on Lyra without really giving it any depth. So now she just looks like a sea hag for no reason. And I don't like it. I don't think it's good. And it could be that they are simply doing exactly that, transposing the storyline over to Lyra from Bayley. Rumors are that Bayley may not extend her contract at the end of the year, and as a result, maybe she goes to a different company. Maybe she goes independent. But because of that, they have to figure out exactly what they're doing with this friendship and this relationship between the two of them. Now, Lyra's saying that she ran Bayley out of WWE. We've seen Bayley at some WWE live events since then. So that's probably not the case. She is still with the company. She's just not a part of this current storyline. And we see that pretty consistently with a lot of talent in WWE. Just because they're not on the show doesn't mean that they're not doing something that week in some city. Even acts like CM Punk. So if you have acts that level that are just doing things that are not televised, you're going to have acts at Bayley's level who are doing things that are not televised. I don't know if Bayley's staying or going, but what I do know is that they have seemingly transitioned Lyra into the I'm crazy storyline that they were giving her. And I don't really know where it goes. The whole point of the show is that I can write storylines so that, you know, we can pretend to see where things are going. But I have no idea where this goes. Right now, she's just a crazy bitch. She's just a crazy bitch who doesn't take care of herself. What is that? What storyline is that? Is she possessed? Is she just losing it? I don't understand this. This one I'm lost on. And if you have an idea as to what exactly they're doing with Lyra, I would love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments, because I'm lost. I'm truly lost on what they're doing with Lyra Valkyria. I don't know. Circling back to the events of the night, after Stephanie and Becky cut their promo and Liv kind of messes things up, we see a promo between LA Knight and Solo Sikoa. Solo worried for LA, saying, we saw what the Bloodline did to Royce Keys last week. If they win tonight, if Jey wins tonight and he collects me back into the Bloodline, they're going to come after you next, and you're not family. They're not here to collect you. They're going to end you. LA Knight not taking this seriously. LA Knight not fazed by LA Knight, just completely crazed and one-track minded over destroying Roman Reigns and destroying the Bloodline. So much so that we kind of see a bit of a fall from grace towards the end of the episode. Because at the end of the episode, we do see we see Jey Uso take on Solo Sikoa. Now, Solo is so over. Solo has become one of the most beloved babyfaces in WWE. So naturally, I was kind of under the impression that because Jey was essentially moving out of accordance with Roman, that because Jey was taking this upon himself, and because Solo is so over, that Solo would end up winning this fight. And I was mistaken. So now I have to kind of reimagine what exactly it is that we're doing here. And last week I posed a potential storyline where I thought that you have the ability here to go the OTC2 route. You have the ability to do a new Bloodline here. And I think that is still a reality. While I didn't foresee them claiming Solo back to the family, now it does seem like, okay, we can still do something here. Because as far as we're concerned, the original Bloodline minus Sami Zayn, who, you know, right? The original Bloodline is kind of now united for the most part. It has some new players that it didn't have before, but the family is the family. And despite the fact that Solo was reluctant, that the whole time Solo screaming, I'm not going back. I don't want to be part of the family. I just want you to leave me alone. He understands the rules. So he's going in some way, shape, or form back, either kicking and screaming and reluctantly or with a mission. Because he's right. The next person that they're going after is LA Knight. But now that Royce Keys and Solo Sikoa are at the very least in check, if not complicit in what the Bloodline has to do, I think you have the potential to see a coup still. With the number one contenders championship, the number one contenders tournament for the heavyweight title happening over the next few weeks, I think we're going to see Roman lose the belt. And when Roman loses the belt to either Dominik Mysterio or Penta, what rights does he have over his family anymore? He's not leading them into success and prosperity like he claims to. He's not the one making sure that they have food on the table, cars in their garages, and that their kids are in good schools. You lost. You're not our lead. Like, we don't know if we can trust you anymore. And in that, you see Solo stage a coup. Because Solo is over. The whole WWE universe loves Solo right now. Especially after last night. That intro promo that he cut where he was just the fun, annoying, legitimately better speaking, more calm and rational little brother watching his big brother crash out, and he's going, calm down. It's your warning shot. Pow! It's your warning shot. Pew. I loved it. He's so over, dude. And because of that, and because we have now watched Jey do something that he took upon himself, but ultimately probably didn't want to do. Now that we've seen Jacob do something that he didn't want to do, we're probably going to see Jimmy do something that he doesn't want to do. They're going to send Jimmy after LA Knight. And then you see all three members of the Bloodline, sans Roman Reigns, now in a place where they had to do things that they didn't want. They had to hurt people that they called friends or family, people that they loved, for Roman. And then he loses his belt. He loses it to Dominik Mysterio. Who can take you seriously as our leader? Who can take you seriously as our tribal chief? You lost to a chicken nugget fan. Enter Solo Sikoa, OTC2. I like it. I don't know if you like it, but I like it. I do want to talk about something outside of Raw. Now, I did say that I would predominantly and primarily focus this show on the events of Monday Night Raw, and I still intend to do so. But I did want to address the Kevin Owens CM Punk promo that we saw over on SmackDown the other night, because fans are noticeably and understandably getting to the point where they are frustrated with the continual storylines of, I don't like CM Punk because he left. Hear me out. CM Punk left. And there are people that have not had the opportunity to air their grievances. People who got hurt. People who've been gone for a while. People who are maybe coming back to WWE but have always been involved in wrestling. They were let go. They either went to a different company, did the indies, so it was never their choice. But all of these people have a bone to pick with the man who tried to destroy their industry and their careers. This is karma. This is the chickens coming home to roost. And I like it. But I just wanted to throw that out there because it is frustrating. It is frustrating to often see recycled storylines. But ultimately, I think you need to remember that, one, SmackDown is the Friday night platform for a reason. A lot less people are watching SmackDown than are watching Monday Night Raw. I'm sorry, John and Cody and Phil. I'm sorry. But SmackDown isn't going to be engaged with as much. And ultimately, I think you have seen a lot of the I'm mad at CM Punk storylines come out of Raw. this SmackDown audiences have not seen those, and as a result, you're going to see them have them more. But I did want to talk on that for just a second, and finally, I did want to circle back to one of the events of an earlier match that I talked about. That was the match between Dragon Lee and Dominik Mysterio. Because once the match concludes, once Dragon Lee wins, we see it happen again. We see Big Cass come out. And Big Cass takes a big boot to Dragon Lee. And as he's taking on Dragon Lee, we hear Javon Evans' music come out. And Javon Evans wants to take on Big Cass. He does not. Cass puts him right back in his place. I think that this leans very much into the storyline that I suggested previously. Now, I don't know if WWE will do it, but I really like it. I think that it has nuance and depth. And that is that you got a big, hulking, racist white guy taking on a urban black guy who is over. They're both over. Big Cass is back, and the moment he steps in the ring, people are like, oh my God, he's 7 foot tall. You just can't not do something with that, man. So have some balls. Make it a little spicy racial, you know? Make it worth talking about. I think it's there. Anyway, those are your updates from the week when it comes to WWE's Monday Night Raw. I am sorry for not having a chipper demeanor during this. I tried to push through. I took my notes last night as I was watching. This, like I said, is going to be a lesson in discipline. And every week we're going to learn a little bit more about how to do this and how to do this the right way. But I do ultimately, baseline, just want to be consistent with it. So thank you guys for tuning in. When you go in Raw on Monday night, you need to take a Tuesday morning after pill. So I thank you for taking it with me today. You can head over to matttalley.com for all of my dates, for merch, or just to watch some of my content and videos. Obviously, please follow me at Matt Talley Comedy, and I will see you next Tuesday.